Christopher Columbus, 1492. The year he made his first voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. This is him stepping ashore in the Bahamas, taking possession of the islands in the name of Spain, not realizing he was actually off the coast of the United States, more than 700 miles from the closest European settlement. He had indeed found a new world, but this one wasn't empty. It was filled with people who had crossed the ocean from Asia, Africa, and Europe many thousands of years before. They called themselves Indians because they thought they were in India, and that's why the first Europeans to meet them named them Indians, even though they weren't actually in India. For centuries, the natives of this new world lived in peace, building great cities, empires, and civilizations. Then, suddenly, without warning, they were gone. In fact, it was one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. Where did they all go? The answer is hidden in plain sight right here on the beaches of the Bahamas. What we find here tells an incredible story of courage, adventure, greed, and betrayal. And now you know the real story behind the legend of Treasure Island. Our story starts here on this beach in the Bahamas. It's beautiful, just like every postcard picture you've ever seen. But there's nothing here except sand and sea. There are no great cities, no temples or palaces, because when Columbus arrived, the Lucayan Indians were gone. But there are clues about what happened to them right here on these very beaches. All around us are pieces of pottery, tools, spearheads, and other clues left behind by the Lucayan people. We even found this amazing pendant carved from bone. It has two faces on either side and may have been used in religious ceremonies. But how long ago was this place inhabited? To find out, we brought in archaeologists who carefully dig through the layers of the earth, each layer representing a different period of time. At this site, we discovered evidence of human habitation going back to at least 3000 BC. That's almost 5,000 years of history. We also uncovered a whole bunch of Spanish artifacts. Here's a comb, some dishes, part of a water pipe, and this coin dates back to the year 1508, only 14 years after Columbus arrived. The Lucaeans didn't live here for 5,000 years. They lived here for 5,000 days. By the time Columbus arrived, they had been gone for 100 years. The question is, where did they all go? The answer can be found 700 miles north in Cuba. Here's the island of Cuba. To get to Cuba, Columbus had to sail west from Spain across the vast Atlantic Ocean. It was a risky journey into uncharted waters, but once he got there, he claimed the island for Spain and set about conquering it. But the natives here put up a fierce fight. It took the Spaniards 8 years to defeat them and force them out of their home. In total, Columbus's 4 voyages across the Atlantic led to the conquest of 3 continents. He opened the door for millions of Europeans to cross the ocean and claim the riches of the New World for themselves. Of course, they didn't find gold, but they did find something even more valuable. Enough land for everyone in Europe to migrate over and start a new life. Some came for religious freedom, others were fleeing poverty or persecution, and still others just wanted a piece of the action. Millions of Europeans would cross the ocean to settle in the New World during the next 300 years. But what about those who were already here first? For the natives, there was nowhere to go. They fought back against the newcomers, but they lost. Disease brought over by the Europeans devastated native populations who'd never even seen a Spaniard. The survivors fled into the jungles and deserts, becoming outcasts in their own homeland. In Cuba, they built underground cities and hid from the conquistadors. In Florida, they fled to the Everglades. In Mexico, they hid among the Great Pyramids of Teotihuacan, but nowhere was safe. The conquerors followed them everywhere, killing anyone who resisted and enslaving anyone who survived. As the conquistadors moved north along the coast, the natives moved further inland, deeper into the heart of the continent. This was the Great Migration of the natives of the Americas, a desperate flight from the newcomers who were killing them, enslaving them, and stealing their land. Our next stop is here in the Yucatan Peninsula. It was one of the last great strongholds of the Maya, a civilization that thrived here for 3,000 years. Today, it's a popular tourist destination. But 500 years ago, it was a battlefield. The Maya fought bravely against the Spanish conquistadors, but they couldn't win. Little by little, the Spaniards pushed them back until finally, in 1697, they captured the last independent Maya king. From here, the survivors fled deep into the jungle, and that's where we found them. Here in the jungle city of Lamoni, the Maya were living in hiding, eking out an existence on the fringes of society. We explored the ruins of their great palaces and temples, overgrown with vines and covered in moss, swallowed by the jungle, hiding their secrets from the outside world. The Maya had been driven from their homes, but they were still surviving. Meanwhile, the Spanish conquistadors were searching for gold. They knew the natives had treasures hidden in the temples, so they went looking for it, and they found it. But what they really found was much more valuable than gold. They found books, hundreds of them, written in hieroglyphics, telling the history of the Maya people. The conquistadors didn't want to learn about the history of the Maya, they wanted to destroy it. One by one, they burned the books until every page was a charred ruin. Then they pillaged the city, stealing everything of value and killing anyone who tried to stop them. Only a handful of Maya survived, and they fled into the jungle. There they lived in small groups, speaking their own language and keeping their traditions alive. They became known as the Lacandan, and they've lived in the jungle for 500 years. Now we come to the final chapter of our story. After the fall of Lamoni, the Maya fled south to the mountains of Guatemala. Here, they founded a new city. It was a secret city, hidden from the Spanish conquistadors, who never found it. The Maya lived here for 100 years, raising crops, building houses, and raising families. But then the Guatemalan government found out about the city and sent soldiers to take it over. The Maya fought back, but they couldn't win. One by one, the soldiers captured them and forced them to leave their homes. Once again, the Maya were on the run. They fled to the mountains of northern Guatemala, where they've been living ever since, speaking their ancient language and keeping their traditions alive. The story of the Maya is a sad one. Their great cities were destroyed, their temples looted, their books burned, and their way of life stolen, but they survived. The Maya were one of the greatest civilizations in the ancient world, and their story is an important part of our history. What do you think? Were the Maya right to flee into the jungle, or should they have fought back against the conquistadors? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.